You ever stop and think about the gasoline you put in your car and, say, a plastic grocery bag? They seem like they're from completely different worlds, right? Well, they're not. Today, we're going to dig into the incredibly simple chemistry that secretly connects them both. So let's start with a bit of a riddle. What do these three things have in common? You've got gasoline, a plastic bag, and a ripening banana. A liquid fuel, a solid, and a piece of fruit. I mean, they couldn't be more different. Or could they? Turns out they all share the exact same chemical origin story. And the answer to that riddle, it's all about this one word, hydrocarbons. Every single one of them comes from this huge family of molecules. And if you can wrap your head around what a hydrocarbon is, you've basically unlocked the entire secret of both fuel and plastic. All right, so to really get this, we got to start with the absolute basics. Let's break down what a hydrocarbon actually is and figure out what makes this simple pair of elements so powerful. The name really gives the whole game away. Hydro for hydrogen and carbon for, well, carbon. That is it. Seriously, just those two elements, arranged in different patterns, create almost all the fuels we burn and the plastics we use every single day. So why these two? The real superstar here is carbon. You can think of it as the ultimate Lego brick of chemistry. It's got this amazing talent for linking up with other carbon atoms over and over again to form these long, super stable chains. It's the perfect backbone for building, well, almost anything. Okay, so if they're all just made of carbon and hydrogen, what's the deal? Why does one become a liquid fuel and the other a solid plastic? The secret isn't in what they're made of, it's all about how those carbon atoms are holding hands. And this brings us to the absolute core difference, saturated versus unsaturated bonds. So let's start with saturated. The key phrase to remember here is no multiple bonds. In these molecules, every carbon atom is connected to its neighbor with just a single, simple bond. That's it. Nice and straightforward. The easiest way to picture this is to think of a saturated molecule as being totally full. Every carbon atom has its hands full, holding on to the maximum number of other atoms it possibly can. All its connection points are occupied. There's no room for anyone else to join in. And here's why that matters. Because these molecules, which we call alkanes, are so full and content, they're really stable. They don't want to react or change or build anything new. All that incredible energy is just locked up tight inside their bonds. And the best way to get that energy out? You burn them. This makes them absolutely perfect fuels, everything from the methane that heats your home to the gasoline that runs your car. Now, let's flip over to the other side, unsaturated compounds. These are the molecules that have at least one multiple bond. That means a reactive bubble or even a triple bond sitting somewhere in their carbon chain. So if saturated molecules are full, these guys are basically the opposite. They're not full. That double or triple bond is like an open hand, just waiting to grab onto something new. They're chemically restless, ready and willing to open up that bond and make new connections. So let's just boil it all down. Saturated, single bonds only. That makes them stable, great for burning. Unsaturated has double or triple bonds. That makes them reactive, and they are fantastic for building. Burning versus building, that is the entire story in a nutshell. Okay, so we've established that these unsaturated molecules are awesome for building. But what exactly are we building with them? Let's take a look at how this incredible reactivity lets us turn a simple gas into the solid plastic that's pretty much everywhere. To understand the building process, you gotta meet our star player, the monomer. It's just a small, individual, unsaturated molecule that's ready to link up. Hey, remember that banana from the beginning? It ripens thanks to a super simple monomer called ethene gas. So check out how this magic trick works. First, you start with a whole bunch of those individual ethene monomers, which remember is just a gas. Then you add a catalyst, which is like a starting pistol. It makes all those reactive double bonds pop open. And once they're open, the monomers start linking together hand in hand, one after the other, forming a ridiculously long chain. And what do you get at the end? A solid material called a polymer, polyethylene. And that's what we've made, a polymer. The name tells you everything you need to know. Poly means many, and mer means parts. We have literally taken many parts, all those little monomers, and chained them together into one gigantic molecule. This whole process has a name, addition polymerization, and it's one of the most important chemical reactions in the modern world. It is how we take a simple, invisible gas and transform it into the solid, durable plastic that we use for everything from packaging to grocery bags. So, we've seen the chemistry, we've seen the process. But let's zoom out. Why does this one tiny difference between molecules matter so much in our everyday lives? It all comes down to this. Saturated hydrocarbons, with their stable single bonds, are unreactive. So we use them for fuel, we burn them. On the other hand, unsaturated hydrocarbons, with their reactive double bonds, are perfect for building new things, like plastics.
And that's really the big idea I want you to walk away with. This tiny, tiny difference in chemistry, a single bond versus a double bond, is literally what separates the fuel that powers our civilization from the plastics that build it.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it. This incredibly simple, elegant chemistry, all based on two of the most common elements in the universe, is what built the modern world as we know it. It gave us limitless energy and incredibly versatile materials. And that leaves us with one last big question. If this chemistry built our world, what kind of chemistry is going to build the next one?